Struggle. I'm Chuck Foster. You're listening to Reggae Central on KPFK 90.7 Los Angeles, 98.7 Santa Barbara, 93.7 San Diego, 99.5 Ridgecrest, China Lake, heard worldwide at kpfk.org. And we're blessed to have in the studio with us today Garth Dennis, classic reggae artist. Garth, welcome to Reggae Central.
Greetings, Chuck. It's a pleasure to be here as always, and greetings to all you radio listeners out there.
Great to see you. Garth Dennis, early Studio One artist, your sister actually, one of the very early Studio One artists with the duo called Andy and Joey, the classic hit You're Wondering Now that was remade in the 80s, early 80s. So you were around Studio One from the very early days, right?
Yes, from the very early days.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about those early days. Even so, as a youth, you were going down to Studio One, and who would be some of the musicians that would have been playing at Studio One when you first went down there?
Well, the musicians most naturally were the Scatterlights, and then you'd have young people coming by like Jackie Mittoo and
Yes.
so on and so forth.
Great.
But the Scatterlights were the musician, but you'd have Larry Lakins, you'd have Jackie Opel.
Excellent. Great singers.
Yeah, you'd have Higgs and
yes.
a couple more.
And you had a
Moss,
special relationship with Joe Higgs from the very early days too.
Yeah, in fact, Joe Higgs, as you'd say, is a twin brother-in-law of mine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. In fact, what really happened is that Bob and Joe come together through us, through my family, because we had already known Bob Marley and Bonnie from town, Kingston town.
Yeah.
So when we came to live in Trenchtown, we live in Joe Higgs' home.
Wow.
Right. So
Yeah.
Bob started to visit us, and when he started visiting us, he saw the music and football and cricket and everything.
Yeah. And so, you were involved in these yard sing fests with Joe and the other artists that all come around in those early days too.
Yeah, Halton and Delaware and all.
Oh, boy.
But being young is like, you wasn't like dedicated to it because there was so much other things going on, like soccer and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, cricket and, swimming, flying kites, so much thing. And to me, the music was kind of confined to the rehearsal. You know what I mean? The guys were rehearsing one song for hours, for days.
Great,
and,
yeah.
That was kind of boring to me.
So when did you really get serious about music?
Well, I really get serious after school, as I finished school, because what really happened is that I started this work I call a custom broking, right, the import and exportation, the wharf and the airport.
Right.
But in my little office, there was always a record store, so I was always hearing music.
Yes.
And whenever I get home from work and back in Trenchtown, there would be Joe and Bob and the system doing it, so it was always around me. But I really get serious about 67.
In the Rocksteady days, really?
Yeah, 67, right? But I didn't really start recording until I started the Black Uhuru with myself and Don and Ducky.
Well, let's talk about that. The earliest version of Black Uhuru was you, Don Carlos, and Ducky Simpson.
Yeah, definitely. That was the early. In fact, that group came around me because when I meet Ducky, he wasn't into music. Don lived beside Tubby's that was singing, but he wasn't recording.
In that Waterhouse area, kind of where you came up, too.
Yeah. But by that time, I was between Trenchtown and Waterhouse.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So we put the group together,
Yeah.
Ducky Uhuru.
Right.
We did a couple of songs, but commercially it wasn't successful. And to make a long story short, Dan started his own thing. Ducky started recording with Michael. And what really happened, instead of they come with a different name, they used the same name that was using. And
right, and so the second version of Black Uhuru come with Michael Rose, and then there was a third version later when Michael left the group and they had Junior Reed, but then it kind of come back to the original version after that too.
Yeah, in fact, it started here. I don't know if you can remember that Larry Dawson show at the Mango's Hill, when myself performing the first time as a solo artist, Don Carlos, Muta Baruka, and Black Uhuru was supposed to be inline act. Junior Reed couldn't make it.
I just happened to have a 7-inch single with me from the early days, earlier even than we're talking about right at this moment. Let's give a little listen to this one. We're talking live in the studio with Garth Dennis. We're talking live in the studio with Garth Dennis and talking about, at this point, when you came back into Black Uhuru, but really you had a long and lengthy career in between those as a member of the Wailing Souls, and we should talk about that too, because you recorded with the Wailing Souls from very early on, and you were with them during that whole Channel One era when they had these big hits in Jamaica as well. And you spent a decade with the Wailing Souls, recording many albums as well. So Black Uhuru, Wailing Souls, so much music, but really, you didn't do a lot of solo work. I have the one single by you called Slow Coach. I think that's the only real, record I have from Garth Dennis going back into the 70s. And yet you're coming today with your first solo album after all these years. Let's talk about that.
Very interesting, So, what really happened? This brethren or this man by the name of Joe Higgs, he's such a great brethren, Now, Joe Higgs had a partner by the name of Wilson, Higgs and Wilson, right? And Wilson migrated to the States, right? And I was always saying to Joe, why don't you, do more of the lead singing? Let him say, Delra, Wilson had that lead voice and thing, right? But away from that, he was telling me about harmonies,
right.
harmonies. So
right.
It's like Joe Higgs give up that whole music career and find another partner to sing with to kind of straighten out harmonies. Right? You're still writing his own song.
And you have a lot of really
so
good singers like this. Yeah,
he spends so much time dealing with harmonies amongst us. That's by the time I start working with Wailing Souls. If you notice on the first Wailing Souls album with Wild Suspense, I had that song Slow Coach that I redid.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
But the harmonies still need to be tight, and so
yes.
I start penetrating mostly harmonies, and it's the same thing with Black Uhuru. When I put Black Uhuru together, that was the problem. I was the first lead singer, and after I started leading the songs, harmonies was the problem, especially with Ducky, to be honest, right? Dan could always hold him own, so there was no harmony, right? So I know I could always do the lead. So just like Joe Higgs, I just started.
Yeah, you have this with the Itals, where Keith Porter was a great writer and singer. Ronnie Davis was a great vocalist, but he wound up doing harmonies in that group because really he was the quality of his singing. He could do the harmony singing. Yeah. And really, harmony is one of the great things in music, one of the things that is so much fun in music, to work those things out that you have. Even Beres Hammond told me he would rather sing background than sing lead.
Chuck, life is harmony.
Yes, true.
Life is harmony.
True,
and that's it, Harmony is like, it's so sweet. It's like a song within a song. So it's not an ego. I want to sing lead, I want to sing. Get the harmony going. But I just say, no, I'm here doing my first solo project.
Excellent. Well, let us hear a song from that first project then, and we're going to come back and speak live in the studio with Garth Dennis.